After a pair of games where your Rangers offense just flat out took it to the Angels, they go for the sweep of their West rival with an added weapon. Cole Hamels returns after being sidelined for a start. Now healthy and ready to continue his unbeaten streak as a Ranger. The weather's perfect and Hamel and the Rangers look to stay perfect against the Angels next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T High-Speed Internet. Now it is a gorgeous afternoon here in North Texas. Very gentle breezes drifting in from the north and very calm skies overhead. Rangers about the only thing in these parts that is heating up, and they take on the Los Angeles Angels looking for the three-game sweep. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us this afternoon. Rangers playing good, solid baseball, and it's a good thing because they had their best pitcher on the mound this afternoon as they go for that three-game sweep. Today it's Cole Hamels once again.
It is Cole Hamels today, Buzz, and the Rangers' starting rotation has been among Major League Baseball's best in the month of April. Cole missed a start. It's great to have him back. He's off to the start you would pretty much expect. He's won 10 straight starts, the second longest active streak in Major League Baseball. He's pitched 4 times this year. His ERA is in the mid-2s. The rotation stepped up when he missed a start. Now that he's back, he'll have to be at his best because the Rangers face Garrett Richards today, and he's one of the American League's best himself.
Hey, it's the second matchup of these two in the last 15 days. So the starters for opening day for each of their ball clubs hooking it up again here this afternoon at Globe Life Park. Rangers and the Angels today. We'll have the starting lineups and the first pitch for you coming up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. by AT&T High-Speed Internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. By Budweiser, not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Well, a great day here in North Texas. Rangers looking for the sweep over the Angels before we get things underway. Let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, Buzz, Cole Hamels back on the mound for the first time in 10 days, missing that last start with that groin aggravation. Says he feels good. Brian Holiday, once again, his battery mate, says his job relatively easy.
He has a great feel for what he wants to do, and he's got 4+ pitches, and so it's he kind of rolls with it, and whatever he's feeling he can do. And I mean, he's got great command with all his pitches, so it makes it easy on me because we can get away with a lot of stuff because he can really command all his pitches.
And Cole has been highly successful in a Rangers uniform, riding that 10-game regular season winning streak, looking to make it 11 here today, guys.
All right, Ed, thanks very much. Well, the Rangers and Angels getting set to hook it up. And Tom Grieve is going to tell you about the Angels lineup that will face Cole Hamels here today.
Angels will start off with Yunel Escobar, their third baseman. Cole Calhoun moves from the middle of the lineup up to second in the lineup. Mike Trout will bat third, followed by the cleanup hitter, Albert Pujols. C.J. Cron is fifth. Giovanni Soto will bat sixth and catch. Andrelton Simmons is the shortstop. Shane Robinson back in the big leagues for his first game with the Angels this year is in left field. And getting the start at second base this afternoon is Cliff Pennington.
Well, that's the lineup that the 32-year-old left-hander Cole Hamels will face. Hamels, the San Diego native, making his 5th start of the year. As Emily told you, he missed his scheduled last start, which would have been last Monday. 3-0 record, a 2.52 ERA. The league hitting just 227 against Cole Hamels. So here we go, underway here at Globe Life Park this afternoon. Rangers come in leading the Western Division of the American League by a half game over Seattle. And the first pitch to Escobar is a bit low. Escobar, a 281 average with 3 home runs, and he has driven in 7. Hamels just off the outer edge. 2 balls and no strikes. Escobar had a good year last year with the Washington Nationals. 314 for Washington. That was 6th in the National League last year. And Cole Hamels, maybe a little overly anxious about things getting underway and falling behind 3-0. And he gets that one, Dale Scott. And that was right at the top of the strike zone. Escobar didn't agree, and it doesn't sound like the Angel bench was too thrilled about the call, but it's 3-1. Inside and high for ball 4. Well, Escobar drawing the leadoff walk, and now Cole Calhoun will come up. We'll take a look at the Ranger defense. This afternoon is brought to you by Chicken Express. Outfield of Desmond DeShields and Mazzara, left, center, and right. Moreland and Odor on the right side of the diamond. Elvis Andrus, Adrian Beltre on the left side. And Brian Holiday catching for Cole Hamels. A leadoff walk for Hamels. Escobar at first. Cole Calhoun steps in, hitting at 267. 0-1. Liked what Brian Holiday was talking about with Emily about catching Cole Hamels. That hey, when he has command of all his pitches, it makes the catcher look good. It doesn't really matter what I call. He's gonna execute with it, and that's pretty true. A guy like Hamels, that when he has command, here's a little looper that's over the glove. Rougned Odor into right field for the base hit. So Calhoun hit it right off the end of the bat, but had a trajectory just high enough to avoid the leap of Rougned.
Yesterday in the first inning, after a leadoff double, Johnny Giovatella tried to hit the ball to right field and hit a rocket right straight at Odor. Rangers got an out. Today, the second place hitter hits a soft line drive and lifts it about a foot over Rougned's glove for a base hit. So it's not how you hit it, how hard you hit it, it's where you hit it.
Rougned playing a step too low on that one.
They needed Bobby Grich out there, someone like that, a tall second baseman.
A walk and a single, 2 on, nobody out. Mike Trout steps in. Trout a 291 average. Good tailing fastball at the knees for strike 1. Trout had his 9-game hitting streak snapped here last night. 1 for 5, the brief matchups in his career with Cole Hamels. Good pitch, got in on him. That's the cut fastball. 0-2. Well, the Angels come in 13th in the American League in batting average at 231. Their on-base percentage has dipped down below 300. It's at 299. That's also 13th. They're tied for 11th in the league with 80 runs scored. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hamels couldn't get Trout to go fishing for that one. Trout, a tough guy to double up, but if you can get him to hit the ball at somebody, he hits it hard enough where you'd have a chance to turn it. Of course, the Rangers, the best in Major League Baseball at turning double plays. Boy, that just missed. Hamels couldn't get the call from Dale Scott on that one. 2-2. Left-hander back to the plate. Full count. Well, Trout able to take a couple of close pitches, has run the count full. He's trying to join Escobar and Calhoun aboard for the designated hitter Albert Pujols. We'll see if Escobar and Calhoun are sent running by Mike Scioscia. They're staying put, and a check swing got him.
Oh, he didn't give in. 3-2, nobody out. He wasn't going to throw a fastball because he wasn't worried about the risk of walking him. He's trying to get Trout out. The 3-2 pitch is that slider down and in, and Trout was unable to lay off it. Laid off some pitches earlier in the count to get to 3-2, but once it got to 3-2, he wasn't able to check his swing. A big strikeout right there for Cole. You get the best hitter with 2 men on and nobody out.
You know, we talk about getting the strikeout with a runner at third and less than 2 out. With a runner at second and nobody out, I think it's just as important. You get that strikeout and set yourself up maybe for a double play here if you can get Pujols to get a ground ball at an infielder. Hamels and Pujols have faced each other numerous times. Pujols just 5 for 30 against Cole, but 3 of those 5 have left the ballpark. And Hamels gets that pitch on the low inside corner.
I think the mindset of a hitter, and I'm not going to try to speak for Mike Trout, but for most hitters in that situation, is earlier in the count, you can be a little bit more selective. When it gets to 3-2, it's almost like a hitter would say to himself, all right, 2 men on, nobody out. There's no way he's going to throw a pitch other than try to throw a strike with it, because he doesn't want to load the bases with nobody out. So I think you're more geared up to hit 3-2 because you're anticipating a strike, and Trout didn't get a strike, but he couldn't lay off the pitch.
Could turn it over here. Elvis to Odor. Back to Morgan. 6-4-3. That is double play number 36. Turned by the Rangers. And Mike Scioscia saying, oh, hang on here a second. He wants to give his video group upstairs a chance to look at that last play. Some dispute as Pujols was going down the line. He indicated that he thought Mitch Morgan was off the bag, but Mike Scioscia, after getting the word from upstairs, said no. Well, good job by Hamels and the Rangers to work around the walk and a single. Half an inning in the books, no score. Some trouble in the first. No score as the Rangers come to bat. Tom's going to tell you about the Southwest Airlines Rangers batting order.
Looks a lot like last night. Rougned Odor is at second. Nomar Mazara is in right. Adrian Beltre hasn't made an error this year, is at third base. Prince Fielder had his career RBI number 1,000 on Friday. Ian Desmond bats fifth. Mitch Moreland with a big 3-run homer in the 6-run third inning yesterday is at first base. Elvis, seventh in the league with a .329 average, is seventh. Brian Holiday's the catcher, and in center field batting ninth is Delano DeShields.
And Rougned Odor coming right out of the chute and flailing away at that high fastball from Garrett Richards. Fouls it back for strike one. Richards, still one of the hardest throwers in all of baseball. Starter fastball averages a tick over 96 miles an hour. That fastball, hard cutter, an occasional hard curveball. Rangers need to make him throw some strikes. Last time out, he walked 5 in 5+ innings. And there's a base hit to right field. So Rougned not wasting any time. Went after the first pitch, fouled it off. Went after the second pitch, he's on base.
Rougned's one of those guys you can throw at 120 miles an hour. If it's a strike, he can hit it. He might swing at one out of the strike zone that he can't hit, but if it's a strike, it doesn't matter how hard it's going. He can generate the bat speed and make contact on it.
Well, Rougned, who began last night's ball game by doubling the opposite way this afternoon, a single through the hole. He's aboard for Nomar Mazara. A little bit inside of Mazara. That is ball one. Nomar at 333. He's kind of leveled off a little bit. And that's a nice spot to level off. If you're going to have a plateau, a 333 plateau is not a bad place to be. 2 home runs, 7 driven in.
The other thing with Nomar, he's now got enough plate appearances where he qualifies for the league leaders, and that 333 buzz puts him 5th in the American League in the batting race. Pretty impressive for a rookie.
Boy. Well, everything about him has been impressive. I know that you and I talk about him a lot, that it just doesn't look like there are any glaring holes to his game, and that's unusual to say for a rookie when he comes to the big leagues. Usually there's some things he needs to work on and develop a little bit. You can't really pinpoint a particular thing that Nomar Mazara doesn't do pretty well.
No, because he makes contact. He's patient. Looks like he'll take his share of walks. Uses the whole field. He's shown power. The ball he hit off Weaver went about 435 feet in Anaheim. He's made the plays, diving in front of him, going to his left, to his right. He's taken a home run away and turned a home run into a triple. So you're right, Buzz. There's not anything that he can't do. All you look at him is you see a guy that with maturity, he gets stronger. He gets to know the pitchers. He gets more comfortable. Power comes as he gets a little bit older. He just needs to play and just keep getting better.
Yeah, and he's made the Angels adjust a bit to him. Last night and the first game too, the Angels had a pretty big shift on against him. They had the overshift with 3 players on the right side, and with Richards, now granted he throws a little bit harder, but still they have gone to almost a straightaway alignment with Odor at first. Giovanni Soto calling pitches for Garrett Richards here this afternoon. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Dale Scott walking out from behind home plate, indicating that Soto wanted time. Richards, the Oklahoman, went to University of Oklahoma. Has the kind of fastball that would have attracted attention at the collegiate level with the best of them. A 1-hopper, and that's going to turn into a double play if the rundown is successful. It is. Not much that Rougned Odor can do there. You had to stop for a second to make sure it wasn't going to be a caught line drive, but as soon as C.J. Cron came up with a short hop, he was a dead duck.
Yeah, you see, Cron was tempted to throw the ball right off the bat, which would have been too soon. He waited to throw the ball, and then Simmons, the shortstop, instead of waiting back at second base for the throw, he ran right at the runner so that when he got the ball, he was running toward the runner and made the easy tag. Nice, efficiently executed rundown play.
So base is empty now after the double play. Adrian Beltre taking ball one. Beltre, a .289 average. He has fared pretty well against Garrett Richards, that .300 average. 3 of his 12 hits have been home runs.
Yeah, one of those home runs was in Anaheim earlier in the season. Hit that high, long home run to center field.
Might talk about this a little bit more as the game goes on. Garrett Richards getting into it, but it sure looks like to me that Garrett Richards is throwing much more across his body now than I remember him doing. In other words, stepping much more toward third base than to a straight line to home plate. And that normally will take a toll on a guy. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or not. Could be one of those things where you get into a little bit of a rut as a pitcher and start rushing into your pitches, and next thing you know, 3 or 4 games later, you're really throwing across your body unless you make a correction. And it looks like to me that Garrett Richards might be in one of those funks. A little more stressful to throw that way for most folks. Of course, Jared Weaver, the great starting pitcher for the Angels, made a pretty good career out of throwing across his body a lot. 3-2 to Adrian.
Rangers had a guy a while back, Roger Pavlik, that might have been the definition of a guy that did that.
Sure was. And what happened to Roger and what's happening now to Jared Weaver is typically what happens. You get some back problems or arm problems, shoulder problems. It's kind of a recipe for disaster for the health of a pitcher. But like Weaver did, he did it after 9 years. Another 3-2 pitch. Got him swinging. No leadoff single, but the Rangers can't do anything with it. No runs a hit, nobody left. After 1, Rangers nothing, Angels nothing on Fox Sports Southwest.
Second inning at Globe Life Park in Arlington. John Radigan back in the Captain Morgan Club, having just had a conversation with John Daniels. JD announcing that they have pulled Josh Hamilton off of the rehab assignment. He had just a couple of at-bats last night in a rehab assignment with Frisco. He was 0 for 2 in that rehab assignment. He felt a pain, the same pain that he had felt previously in that knee, and so they have shut him down at least for 5 days. They know that they can't bring him back to the rehab assignment for at least 5 days. They're going to reevaluate after 5 days, and then he will be day-to-day. They do say, though, guys, he'll go back to the rehab assignment when he feels healthy enough. JD telling us that Josh feels pretty frustrated by this incident that at this point they're not calling a setback, but obviously it's a bit of a setback, at least time-wise, for Josh Hamilton, guys.
John, thanks very much. That's good stuff, and what a shame for Josh Hamilton. Odor, nice play by Rugnet.
I'll say it was.
To get C.J. Cron. Wow.
He had to come a long way. That ball almost barely got by the pitcher's mound. You know, left-hand pitcher kind of falls off toward third, so Cole couldn't get back to catch it. Rugnet had to come all the way from his position at second base, all the way back on the outfield grass into the pitcher's mound. Right, well, back of the pitcher's mound, on the grass to make that little flip. What a nice play. Barehanded, throw on the run, quickly and accurately.
Well, defense, as we've been saying, for the Rangers, as good as I can remember around here quite a while.
Yeah, me too.
It has really been solid. And Odor, a big part of that.
Well, you've got so many guys playing for their position, above average defense. Basically everybody in the infield. Delano's playing great in center field. Ian Desmond is adjusting to left field. And for 21 years old, Nomar Mazara looks like a natural out in right field.
Sure does.
Both the catchers are doing well. They've shut down the running game basically. Opposing base runners, I think, are 5 for 10 stealing bases. There's really nothing about the defense at any position. It's not at least average to way above average.
And the Rangers come in to play it this afternoon, second in the American League in percentage and fewest errors.
That's
Just
great.
one error behind Kansas City.
We're going to talk about how well the starting pitching has been. One of the main reasons has been the defense behind them.
In our Ford leaderboard, we'll show you that the fewest errors, I beg your pardon, they're 2 behind Kansas City in the American League. Also Washington leading the National League. But last year, as a point of comparison, a little bit different.
I think it was Jeff Bannister. I might be wrong on this quote, but in the offseason when he was asked, as he is many times, what do the Rangers need to do to be even better next season? He said, I think one thing we're going to concentrate on spring training and into the season is our defense. That is one difference between us and Kansas City, who won the World Series. When you look at their team, their speed and their defense and their ability to convert batted balls into outs, that's what we want to be, and they're getting pretty close to it right now.
Andrelton Simmons gets sawed off, and his counterpart Elvis Andrus throws him out, and it's a very quick and tidy 1-2-3 inning for Cole Hamels. 3 up and 3 down after 1.5. Rangers nothing, Angels nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Now, Rangers coming to bat here in the bottom of the second inning. Prince Fielder to lead off against Garrett Richards. And the first pitch is high. It'll be Fielder, Desmond, and Moreland for the Rangers. Scoreless ball game, each team with one hit. And each team turned a double play in the first inning. A little cue shot over the Angel dugout back into the seats. 1 ball and 1 strike. And we'll catch you up on the Angels defense, brought to you by T-Mobile. Robinson, Trout, and Calhoun, left, center, and right. C.J. Cron, Cliff Pennington on the right side. Andrelton Simmons and Yunel Escobar on the left side, with Giovanni Soto catching. Two balls and a strike to Fielder. Might make one quick note on that on the defense. You saw a couple of changes, obviously, for the Angels. Shane Robinson getting the start in left field. He was brought up from AAA today. Craig Gentry put on the disabled list with some back stiffness. Also, a couple pitching changes. A.J. Achter has joined the bullpen. Matt Shoemaker, who pitched last night, and the Rangers got to him for 7 runs in less than 3 innings, has been optioned to AAA. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Shallow left field. Robinson, sunglasses glinting. 1 out. And before Ian Desmond steps in, let's say hello to Jim Knox.
All right, appreciate it, Buzz. Great crowd again here at Globe Life Park. We even have a group in from San Antonio, also celebrating Niece's birthday.
Oh, yeah. Came down here for the weekend to celebrate and catch a game.
All right, there we go. Good to have you. And also the Rattlers 10U team from Flower Mound enjoying the Rangers this afternoon. All right, guys, have fun, all right, Buzz?
All right, Knoxy, thank you. Those guys are ready. Brought their gloves, some of them. Got designated protectors that brought those gloves out. Here's Desmond, and Ian takes a strike on the outside corner.
Well, both pitchers look like they have good stuff in this ball game. Richards has thrown his slider, his mid-90s fastball, really good changeup to Prince. Turns that fastball
Yes,
out.
he did. About 96. Desmond going for 2, testing Trout's arm, and Ian Desmond, an aggressive double. Now, the one thing that Mike Trout is vulnerable at defensively is his throwing arm. It doesn't happen very often where you can test that arm because he gets to the ball so quickly. But Ian Desmond took advantage of it there.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Buzz. He gets to the ball quickly. He gets rid of it quickly. But as far as pure arm strength goes, it's not there. It's not there like Leonis Martin or Ian Desmond, someone like that. And Desmond sensed that. The other side of it is he's pretty far out in left center field when he fielded it, so he had a long range throw. But that's turning around a high 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
Now, the Rangers' second hit has Desmond now in scoring position for Mitch Moreland. Moreland cranked out his 3rd home run of the year in last night's ball game, a 3-run blast. And back to Ian Desmond. He is our TXU Energy power player to watch. Last 11 games, Desmond has hit .378. All 3 of his home runs, 9 of his RBI, and 6 walks, plus 12 runs scored. He has been right in the thick of Ranger offensive output. And that was really what the Rangers were looking at, a guy that could be that explosive offensive force, despite what he was limited to last year in Washington. Still had 19 home runs, but not up to Ian Desmond standards. The Rangers knew there's more in the tank, and Desmond showing them that they were correct in that assessment. 1 ball, no strikes to Mitch.
Boy, if there was one reasonably priced player on the open market who the Angels really needed, it was Ian Desmond.
Yep.
And they needed an offensive player. They needed someone just like that. And the Rangers swooped in and signed him. Not sure if the Angels were in on that or not. If they weren't, they should have been.
Ball 3. It's laying off that high fastball. So Moreland trying to get aboard to join Desmond. Elvis Andrus, the Ranger shortstop, in the on-deck circle. Now, that might be one of those cases too, Tom, where again the Angels' salary structure might have prohibited them from going out.
Might have.
As it was, $8 million is what the Rangers gave Desmond. That might have been too rich for the Angel blood. I don't know.
Might have been. Yeah, we talk about $8 million like it's a reasonable contract. It still is a lot of money.
Yeah, sure it is.
But I think for a guy with his background in baseball, the years he's put up, 1-year contract for $8 million, it's kind of like hitting the lottery when you get a player like that, what he's bringing to the party for the Rangers.
Three 3-0 the count to Moreland. Now 3-1. Yeah, and I guess the other side of it too is, as we're reminded, is that Rangers had been having conversations with Desmond all throughout the offseason when he became a free agent, with that possibility in mind that, hey, if things don't work out, we can't go the long-term deal, but don't forget about us if you get down to the end of things. That is on the inside corner. So
yeah, and the way it's turned out, Ian has pretty much come out and said, I don't want to be a shortstop. I want to be an outfielder now. So he's not only accepted that, he's embraced it. And you're right. Maybe the Angels weren't even aware that he would play in the outfield, and they just had made a trade for Simmons, so they didn't need a shortstop.
Moreland toward the right field alley. It's a fair ball. In to score is Desmond. Moreland with the double. The Rangers on top, 1-0.
Well, Mitch is starting to heat up and drive in runs, hitting over 300 in his last 12 games. Richards took something off, threw him an off-speed pitch, and Mitch kept it fair down the right field line for the Rangers' first run. Like a high changeup, maybe 87 miles an hour. Mitch hits it off the end of the bat, but still got plenty of it. Doubled down the right field line. Rangers score first.
That's a pitch that Richards will look back at and say, look, if I'm going to get beaten with my fourth best pitch, I better put it in a little better spot than that.
Yeah.
So Rangers out on top here. Here's Elvis. Another opportunity with a runner in scoring position. And Elvis has just been money in the bank this year doing that, hitting at 500. Overall, Elvis hitting at 329 with 13 RBI. 13 RBI in the month of April. His fourth highest monthly total in his career. Takes a strike. Most RBI that Elvis ever had in a single month. And back in September of 2013, he had 18. But this 13 ranks right up there with the other 3 months of production. Popped up. Right side and just in foul ground. C.J. Cron able to make the grab for out number 2. So Elvis not able to bring Mitch Moreland home. That'll be up to Brian Holiday. Elvis chiding himself in the Ranger dugout. Not happy he wasn't able to get that ball in play to bring the run home.
And the Rangers win in Anaheim. Brian had a big hit against Garrett Richards. Drove in a run in that ball game. I think he scored in the same inning. A pretty close ball game.
Holiday steps to the plate, hitting at 171. He has 3 RBI. This for Brian, his 12th start behind the plate for the Rangers. Nothing in 1. Holiday, the TCU Horned Frog X. Rangers able to get Ryan Holiday. They found a need very quickly right at the end of spring training. Chris Jimenez came down with that infection in his ankle and needed someone with backup capability, and Holiday became available. The Detroit Tigers were okay with letting him come to the Rangers. That happened on the 29th of March. Takes that pitch up and in. It's 2 balls and a strike. And then when Robinson Chirinos went down with a broken forearm, Holiday thrust into an everyday role, and Rangers able to bring up Brett Nicholas to share some time with him. Two-one offering coming. Popped it up. Shallow left field. Robinson peering up into the powder blue sky makes the catch. And that'll do it. But the Rangers get on the board. Desmond and Moreland go back-to-back with doubles. Moreland with the RBI will go to the 3rd inning, 1-0 Rangers. At Bat app. You stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and a lot more. Download MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball for your smartphone or your tablet. Well, Hamels now out to the mound with a 1-0 lead to protect. And Shane Robinson, left fielder, leading things off. It's a ball and a strike. Robinson, as we mentioned, just called up from AAA Salt Lake City today.
They had to send him down after spring training to work on his beard. He's got it in mid-season form now, so they called him back up to the big leagues.
I guess Salt Lake City, get up there in the mountains up above Salt Lake City, and you can get that mountain man look going. Got him on the fist. That's fouled away. Robinson has moved around. Most recently was with the Minnesota Twins last year. That's his last foray in the major leagues. He had time with Cleveland in spring training. Angels signed him to a minor league deal on the 31st of March, right at the end of camp. 2-2. And I guess it tells you kind of the state of the Angels minor league system at the moment. Robinson, a 31-year-old, fouls that pitch down. So we've known the Angels minor league system has been depleted with some trades and whatnot of late, but looking at the moves that Mike Scioscia's club has had to make, would indicate that it maybe go a little bit deeper than what you think. A little looper into right center. That's going to fall for a base hit. Shane Robinson, a leadoff single here in the third. And before Cliff Pennington steps in, let's send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. Cliff Pennington, the switch hitting infielder, bluffing a bunt, and it's ball one. Pennington for the year, a 160 hitter. Most of the time with the Angels, all but one at bat this year with the Angels as a right-handed hitter. 1 home run, 4 driven in. Bunt is down. It's a good one. Play is to Moreland at first, and the sacrifice goes 1-3. Down to second goes Robinson. He's there for the top of the order.
That goes down as a sacrifice, and Pennington will take the sacrifice. I've got a feeling he's probably bunting for a base hit right there, hoping he can get it by Hamels towards second base. Beat Moreland to the bag. Didn't get it. I don't think he bunted that as far as he wanted to. Robinson's a good base runner. He was with the Twins last year, part-time duty, stole 6 out of 7 bases. So he's got some speed.
Here's Escobar. And first ball swinging. Adrian Beltre gobbles up that tough hop.
I swear, there's no such thing as a bad hop to him.
Man.
That ball, you could tell the way that ball came off the bat, it was going to take a bad hop right in front of him. And you think, well, maybe he can block it with his chest and keep the ball in front of him. Instead, goes right in the middle of his glove. No problem. That just, you watch that in slow motion, you say, well, he lifted the glove up and caught it. That hits most of us right in the chest without even touching the glove.
That thing had enough overspin on it to make it look like a super ball when it was bouncing. No, 2 big outs now. Here's Cole Calhoun. Calhoun had a single to right back in the first inning. It's at almost identically the same spot. Around third, coming in to score is Robinson. The throw is not in time. And Cole Calhoun, looping one to right, ties this ball game with an RBI single. It's 1-1.
Well, Calhoun moved up in the lineup, top of the lineup where he hit last year. And against a left-handed pitcher, got himself a couple of base hits today.
So everything is back to dead even. A run on 3 hits for each ball club. Calhoun at first with 2 outs, and Mike Trout, a strikeout victim in the first, will step in. There goes Calhoun. The pitch is a strike. The throw not in time.
That was a big jump by Calhoun. He was just going on the first sign of any movement from Cole Hamels. He had that ball. He had that base stolen before the ball ever got to the catcher, because Brian makes a good, strong, accurate throw to second. Just didn't have a chance.
Dora showing you that concentration of keeping that tag on the runner all the way through. Make sure he doesn't lose contact with the base. 0-1 to Trout, and now Hamels will back off, rethink, and go at it again. In the dirt, nice stop by Brian Holiday. Holiday, you remember, throughout the first 2, or throughout 2 runners in his first game with the Rangers as a starting catcher. It was up in Seattle. Rangers have been able to keep the running game of the opposition pretty well at bay. 1-2. Trout had a 2-hit game in the opener of this series on Friday night. We mentioned 0 for 4 last night. Call, strike 3. Hamels nailing down the inside corner with that curveball. Gets Trout looking. The Angels come back with a run on 2 hits to tie the game. We'll go to the bottom of the third. It's now the Rangers 1 and the Angels 1 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Head to the bottom of the third here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, the finale of a 3-game series between the Halos and the Rangers. And we always like to fill you in on what's going on away from the field with your Texas Rangers, and a very cool long-standing partnership between the Rangers Foundation and Medical Center Arlington that brings fitness and education in the nutrition field to Arlington 5th grades. Every month, Rangers captain, along with guests from MCA and the Arlington Fire Department, visit 5th grades around the city of Arlington to fill them in on the benefits of good nutrition and good fitness. For more information, visit texasrangers.com/fitness, guys.
All right, and thank you. Now, Delino DeShields starting off for the Rangers here in the third inning. A 1-1 ball game. And Delino takes a strike. That will even the count. Delino at 221. Second straight start down there in the 9th spot in the order. Richards able to drop that big breaking ball in. A pitch that he doesn't throw all that much, but well, when he does and gets it over, it has great effect on the hitter. A 1-2 pitch. Up the middle, right over the bag, Pennington. A wide throw, and just keeping his foot on the bag, Crone gets the out.
Second baseman,
Delino thought he had himself a base hit, I would imagine, when he left the box. Nice job by Pennington.
Yeah, when you see the stuff that Garrett Richards has, mid-90s fastball with movement, slider, changeup, and a curveball, you can see why, since the start of 2014, his opponent's batting average is the 4th best in the American League. Hitters have only hit .220 against him. There's a big curveball. That's a good curveball. The only pitchers who have been tougher to hit, Felix Hernandez, Chris Sale, and Carlos Carrasco from Cleveland. And that's something that definitely meets the eye test. When you watch him, you expect that that would be the case.
Yeah.
Tough to hit. Easy to see when you watch him.
Rougned Odor solved him the first time up. Odor with a leadoff single. Rougned had not had much success against Garrett Richards in previous matchups. Gets fisted here, and Pennington takes care of that bounding ball. 2 gone.
right fielder, Nomar Mazara.
bases empty. Nomar Mazara now will face Garrett Richards.
Other numbers from last year for Richards. He was a workhorse. He had top 10 numbers in innings pitched, strikeouts, wins. He was a true ace for the Angels last year.
And Mike Scioscia recognizing Richards' contributions by naming him the opening day starter this year. That unseated Jared Weaver, who had started 9 straight opening days for the Angels. That's a nice compliment for Richards. Two balls, no strikes. Well, I'd like to welcome all the folks that have been watching the Dallas Stars hockey game. Thank you for joining us. Stars, we understand, are down 3-1, so they've got some ground to make up. Taking on the St. Louis Blues. Appreciate you stopping in with us. The Rangers and Angels here tied at 1. Nomar Mazara facing Garrett Richards with the bases empty and 2 away here in the Ranger 3rd inning. Three balls and a strike. Mazara grounded into a double play back in the 1st inning. And that chopper foul will fill the count. So Nomar with 2 outs, trying to get aboard to keep this inning going. Adrian Beltre in that on deck circle. Rangers and Angels split a 4-game series out in Anaheim. The first road trip for the Rangers back starting on the 7th of April. Rangers have won the first 2 games in this series, looking for the sweep here this afternoon. And again, Nomar Mazara making an opposing pitcher work overtime in an at-bat. Jeff Bannister noted that Mazara does a lot of things that good hitters do, and he wasn't ready to anoint Nomar Mazara as anything yet. And he said he has the qualities a lot of good hitters have. Just a matter of if he continues to improve the other facets of his game. Good breaking ball gets him on strikes there, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Richards. Rangers gone in the 3rd. On to the 4th inning we go. Rangers 1, Angels 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Month, and Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and their commitment to improving the lives of families and those affected by mental health conditions. You can learn more about how to be stigma-free and visit foxsportssupports.com. Cole Hamels back to the hill. Albert Pujols leading off the Angel fourth inning, a 1-1 game, and Pujols takes a strike at the knees to even the count. Pujols grounded into an inning-ending double play in the first inning. A 6-4-3 twin killing that got Hamels and the Rangers out of that frame. Lines one solidly into center field, and Pujols with a leadoff base hit here in the fourth inning.
Well, Pujols has chased a lot of off-speed pitches down and out of the strike zone against the Rangers this year, both in Anaheim and so far in the series here. That one stays up a little bit for him. Didn't really have to chase it. It was a strike, and he waited on it, lined it into center field. That pitch, well down below the strike zone, is a pitch he swung at a number of times, along with some changeups.
A 1 on, nobody out. C.J. Cron takes the first offering a bit high. Cron out on a nice play by Rougned Odor. Cron hit a little tapper out toward second. And Odor came in barehanded and made a good play to get him at first. 1 ball and 1 strike after the foul. Cron, an arch nemesis of the Rangers. Remember last year he drove in 20 runs in a season. That was the second most ever by an Angel against the Rangers. Garrett Anderson drove in 21 in one season. That was the high water mark. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cron did that in just 17 games last year. He also hit .360. Along with those 20 runs driven in. 2-2. Hamels a check of Pujols. And tried the changeup and missed low and in. So for the second straight hitter now, Hamels has gone to a 3-ball count, 3-2. Rangers a couple of steps around to the left, looking for that double play ball off the bat of Cron. And he loops one into left. That's a base hit. Stopping at second is Pujols. So back-to-back singles open up the fourth inning for the Angels. 2 on, nobody out for Giovanni Soto.
Cron is not going to walk very often. He's just swinging a lot of pitches. He makes pretty good contact on him too. That pitch was off speed, down, probably not a strike. Kind of swung at it with his left arm and lined it into left field. Yep, definitely not a strike.
Yeah.
You give up a hit on that pitch, all you can do is say, not much I can say about it other than he hit a pitch for a base hit that most people wouldn't hit for a base hit, and he probably won't hit for a base hit next time either.
Soto, first ball swinging. That's not going to get the runners over. Elvis takes care of the little pop-up, the infield fly rule in effect. And Hamels on 1 pitch able to get a big out as Soto pops out, 1 away. Yeah, after throwing a pitch like that Cron got the single on, you tell yourself, well, I'm due after that about 3 pitches that I throw down the middle and they get popped up.
Yeah.
Of course, whether that ever evens
out.
You
probably wouldn't recommend that kind of a game plan, though, would you?
No. That's something you think about in the offseason. You go plus minus for yourself. Elvis, Odor, did they turn it? Yes, they did.
Oh, another nice pickup.
6-4-3.
Had a bad hop.
Not an easy play and not an easy turn for Odor either. Rangers get it done. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 man left as the Rangers have turned over 37 double plays this year. 3.5 in the books, 1-1 the score. On your Texas Rangers on Tuesday, May 10th. That night, the first 20,000 fans at the game will receive an MLB Network Rangers AL West Champs tote bag. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets for May 10th. Bright sunshine overhead, and the Rangers looking to break this 1-1 tie as they come to bat in the fourth inning against Garrett Richards. Adrian Beltre, Prince Fielder, and Ian Desmond. Beltre, who struck out his first time up, takes ball one. Adrian in a little bit of a downturn offensively. In the last 7 games, he's just hit 150. But still with that average 286 for the year. And you go back over the last 20 games now, Adrian's been a .310 hitter. 2-0 pitch. Taking all the way, and it's 2-1. Beltre, almost half of his hits lately have gone for extra bases. 10 of the last 22 for Beltre have been more than singles. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Looks like Garrett Richards, too, is finding that zone with the curveball a little more frequently. Cron at the railing, and he's tried to go in the commissioner's box, didn't have a ticket, so he got rejected.
You have to be careful how hard you run into that, that wall. That's not foam.
Trying for a highlight reel, but I don't think that's going to make thought better of it at the last second. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, he kind of caved in at the end, I think, to protect his ribs from that cement.
Now another 2-2 pitch to Beltre. Our steel pitch tracker just barely had enough room to show you where that one was.
Fans reacted to that up and in pitch, but it was a slow curveball. Not a problem for a hitter.
Now Richards with a payoff pitch. Lost him. Low and away, couldn't get Beltre to swing the bat at it. And Adrian draws the leadoff walk. And for Richards, that's the first free pass he has issued this afternoon. And see if the Rangers can't turn that into some trouble for Richards. Prince Fielder, a fly ball to left as he led off the second inning. Prince has had at least a hit in each of the last 2 games. Homestand, including the Yankee series. Fielder hit .364. Now there's an oddity. A pitch out on the first pitch to Fielder with Beltre at first base.
I must just be working on the pitch out.
Adrian took that as a compliment.
Just paying tribute to Adrian.
Yeah. As he
in
likes
an
to say.
Unlikely way.
As he likes to say, and Prince likes to say, that's just sheer speed. 1-1. Fielder 17 RBI. Now, he's had at least 1 RBI in each of his last 2 ball games. And been the model of consistency so far this year as you get a look at the overshift that the Angels employ against Fielder. Right back to Richards. The second he throws wildly. That is into shallow left center. Beltre just keeps on going.
That was a simple double play. It looked like the ball got stuck in Richards' glove when he went to take the ball out. It was a fairly hard hit ball. It was going to be an easy double play if he makes an accurate throw to second base. There's a little trouble getting the ball out of his glove. and then just throws it wildly into left field.
You know, the problem I see right there, and that's part of the shift that creates situations you're not used to. You got a third baseman and a shortstop thinking about covering second on a ground ball back to the pitcher. The shortstop, yeah, he's used to that. Third baseman, though, gets a little too close to the bag, and when a pitcher turns around to pick up second base and a target to throw to, he sees two guys right next together, and as a result, Richards threw it right between them. That's just something that, again, you run into situations when you overshift like that where guys are not accustomed to being in those different positions on what could be normal plays. Desmond fouls the first pitch off. Richards, when he turns around, he's happy he made the catch, but then he sees two guys right there. And normally, it's shortstop and second baseman. One is going to go to the bag, the other is going to be behind and kind of out of the view of the pitcher. You get two guys side by side, the pitcher says, well, I don't know who I'm going to throw it to, so I'll throw it in the middle.
Yeah, if they were both on either side of the bag, it might have worked. But when one of them's on the bag and the other one is well off the bag, in between goes into left field. Well, nice break for the Rangers. Leadoff walk on a 3-2 curveball. Double play ball turned into first and third and nobody out.
Same kind of thing happened to Richards in the game that he pitched against Hamels out in Anaheim. And there's a base hit to center as Desmond cashes in right away. Beltre trotting down the line to score. And the Rangers back on top 2-1 as Ian Desmond gets his 11th RBI of the year, his second hit of the afternoon.
These are two of the best swings that Ian's had. Two 95, 96 mile an hour fastballs, both turned around. One turned into a double when it rolled in left center field. This is just a smoked line drive back through the middle. You have to think that went back out at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than that. That was a rope.
If you're going to throw a fastball in that area to Ian Desmond, it's either got to be about 78 miles an hour or 110 miles an hour. At 110, you're running the risk of having him hit it back at you faster than that. He is a great fastball hitter. Well, the Rangers able to capitalize right away on the error. And still runners at first and second and nobody out. And Mitch Moreland coming up. You like this matchup too with Moreland. Mitch had the RBI double as he doubled into the right field corner his first time. Got Fielder at second, Desmond at first. On the inside corner for strike one. Mitch, another guy that has never seen a fastball he didn't like. Steele pitch tracker showing you that last one bisecting the inside corner. The overshift on for the Angels with Moreland at the plate. Here's that cutter. You can really see the cutting action of that fastball working into the hands of Mitch Moreland. We were talking about liking fastballs, and see Elvis Andrus and Ian Desmond both hitting .455 against fastballs at 93 miles an hour or above.
Well, Ian's hit a 96 and a 95, about as hard as you can hit them into center and left center field. Tough pitch to lay off of. 2-strike pitch, hard slider, almost a strike, down and in.
1-2 to Mitch. Last 12 ball games, Mitch doing some damage, hitting at .302.
Yeah, right here, if you're the Angels, you have to be saying, uh-oh. Rangers have had 6 innings where they've scored 5 runs or more in an inning. They're in position right now.
Moreland a drive to right, down the line, but hooking foul.
That almost was it. It would have been 5, but it would have been 4 in a hurry.
Just a hair out in front.
That little girl, no, she fired it away. The little girl found that ball and launched it right into right field. Watch this, see if we can see it again. Dad didn't get it. She gets it, and she can't wait.
Here, I got it, Dad. Let me show you.
She can't wait to get rid of this ball.
I'll show you what you taught me.
I got it, and now you can have it.
Oh, man. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And there's Dad over there. And, oh,
man, I didn't expect to get a ball up here.
it's okay, honey.
What's she supposed to do with it?
I was the one that taught you to throw. It's my fault.
Yep. That's great.
Yeah, it is. Making
I hope she
memories at the
doesn't feel
ballpark.
bad about that, because that was exactly what you would think you should do with a ball.
That's right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Did a pretty good job of waiting on that. He must be seeing the ball out of Richards' hands pretty well.
I think he's seeing it out of Richards' hands pretty well, and he's hot right now, too. We mentioned that hit over 300 in his last 12 games. He doubled his first time up, and generally when you're in a pretty good streak like that, that's one of the things it means, that you are seeing the ball pretty good. You're picking it up well. You're not way out in front of the off-speed pitches behind the fastball. You're starting to get right on everything.
And hitting in a setting in which he's comfortable here at home. Call strike 3. Boy, Richards making a pitch there.
Tip your hat to him on that pitch.
Dale Scott ringing him up, and Mitch gone on strikes. That's out number 1.
Just a perfect pitch. 96 miles an hour, barely touching the strike zone. That's going to get a lot of hitters out. I don't care how hot you are.
So Richards with his 3rd strikeout. Now he'll face Elvis Andrus, who fouled out his first time up there. Elvis, we talked about, boy, he has been loads of trouble for opposing pitchers when he gets up there with runners in scoring position. 3rd in the league in batting with runners in scoring position at .500. 0-1. Great afternoon out here at Globe Life Park. Gentle breezes blowing out of the north out to right field. Not many clouds to be seen. Lots of brilliant sunshine, and the folks, nice crowd, has filed into Globe Life Park. Had 41,000 plus last night. It looks to be fairly close to that here this afternoon. Rangers trying to go for the sweep over the Angels. They lead at 2-1. Elvis looking to add some more here in the 4th inning. One ball, 1 strike. One of the guys we talked about in our pregame discussion about the Rangers hitting with runners in scoring position. Elvis at that .500 mark. 329 overall. Line drive to left field coming on Robinson. He has to play it on a hop. Fielder had to hold up, so he can only advance to 3rd, but Elvis another base hit with runners in scoring position, and the Rangers didn't score, but they had the bases full with 1 out for Brian Holiday.
Mr. Brian Holiday.
Elvis, a little bit of bad luck there with the ball just hit right at Robinson and high enough to where Prince couldn't judge whether it was going to be caught or not, so he could only advance to 3rd base. So the base is full. Brian Holiday, who had a fly ball to left field his first time, will try and unload him. And he was set for that fastball. Mike Owen had to do a little dance down there at 3rd to get out of the way. A .571 hitter, Brian Holiday is, with the bases full in his career. Rangers would love to see him up that by a bit. Fielder, Desmond, and Andrus. 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. Pulled down the left field line. That's going to hook back into the seats. No balls and 2 strikes.
And now you've got your work cut out for you. No balls and 2 strikes against one of the toughest pitchers to hit, with an assortment of pitches from slow to extremely fast. He's got to kind of battle and see if he can put the ball in play somewhere. Maybe get it far enough to be a sac fly. Tough assignment for a hitter. 0-2 against Garrett Richards.
Saw Prince at third, Desmond at second. Elvis over there at first, talking to Hector Ortiz. Yeah, need some contact. Need to get the ball put in play. Richards a high set. Knocked the mask right off Giovanni Soto. Brian Holiday, commiserate with him a little bit. He knows what that feels like. Still 0-2. Call, strike 3. Got the outside corner and got the call from Dale Scott.
We had 2 strikeouts this inning, both of them barely touching the outside corner. One to Mitch, and that one with the bases loaded and 1 out to Brian Holiday. Just made perfect pitches. That's a slider right on the corner. Perfect pitch.
So 2 away, and Delino DeShields now will step up, having grounded to second back in the 3rd inning. Delino hitting at .218 and looking to up his RBI total, which currently stands at 4. Richards will continue to work from the stretch with the bases full. 1 ball, no strikes. Delino in an offensive downturn. There's 2 for his last 30 times to the plate. We got the bases full of Ranger teammates. Base hit here would give the Rangers a little bit of cushion. And there is the base hit we were talking about. Right center field. Fielder's home. Desmond right behind him. Elvis to third. Delino DeShields comes through big with a 2-out, 2-run scoring single. It is 4-1 Rangers.
The Rangers just continue to do what we've been talking about, everybody's been talking about all season long. Played great defense. They've turned a couple of nice double plays in this game and get clutch hits with men in scoring position. That's just kind of the name of the game right now for them. They're getting hits when they need them. They're having big innings. They're getting excellent pitching and making all the plays defensively. Boy, that's a formula for winning ball games.
Oh, Delino with RBI number 5 and 6 for the year, and they are big ones.
Well, that was a rope too. The Rangers have hit some balls hard at 4 innings against Garrett Richards.
Well, back to the top of the order, Rougned Odor. Going after that first fastball. Rougned has liked what he's seen from Garrett Richards. He's up there swinging the bat.
There's a perfect pitch to Moreland, pitch number 7. A perfect pitch to Brian Holiday, both for strikeouts as he's trying to pitch his way out of a jam. But Delino made sure the Rangers had another big inning. 1 run is nice, but boy, you pick up that 2-out bases loaded hit to plate 2 more runs. Just a huge hit for Delino.
Richards checking on Delino at first, and this would be a great opportunity for DeShields to try and get himself in a scoring position. Odor up at the plate. You got Elvis over at third.
Delino hasn't stolen a base in 15 straight games.
And Odor fouling that back.
I guess the other side of it is that with the first baseman holding on the runner. You got a nice hole to shoot at there, and maybe you'd rather have Delino have that open spot to shoot for. He's already had one hit in the game that went between first and second.
Our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact for you. Cold Hard Fact brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Last night, Odor matched a team record 3 doubles in last night's ballgame. Third player in franchise history with 3 doubles from the leadoff spot. 31 instances along with Odor of Rangers getting 3 doubles in a ballgame. Got Elvis over at third. Delino over at first. Time called now momentarily. And you would think with 2 strikes on Odor, this might even heighten the chance of DeShields taking off. If he happened to get thrown out, he'd give Odor a new count to start with next inning. Giovanni Soto looking into the Angel dugout to see what the instructions from Mike Scioscia are. 0-2. Little cat and mouse game. Scioscia not opposed to pitching out twice in a row either. He really feels this is an important situation to stop the running game. There goes DeShields, and the pitch right in front of home plate. It bounded off of Soto, and so Delino DeShields into scoring position with a stolen base.
Well, base hit right here. You've got another 5-run inning. Here's the 7th one for the Rangers. Game number 25.
All 3 of Delino's stolen bases now have come against these Angels. Two balls and 2 strikes to Odor. Left center field. Robinson into the gap, makes the catch, and that'll do it. But Rangers strike for 3 runs. A big error in the inning. They leave 2. We're going to the 5th. It's the Rangers 4 and the Angels 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Well, the Rangers putting another crooked number up on the scoreboard. with a 3-spot up in the 4th. Have a 4-1 lead now for Cole Hamels, as the left-hander heads out to the mound to take on Shane Robinson, Cliff Pennington, and Yunel Escobar. Robinson running up as if to bunt, takes strike 1. Robinson singled and scored the Angel run back in the 3rd inning. One ball and 1 strike. Robinson, a former 5th-round draft pick by the St. Louis Cardinals back in 2006. Played his college ball at Florida State University. 1-2. As of yesterday, when the Angels called him up, he was hitting .306 at Salt Lake City. That one just missed the inside corner.
Home plate umpire has to remember this guy's got short knees.
A lot lower to the ground than most guys, huh?
Yep.
Still 2-2. Robinson back in there. Hamels with another 2-2 pitch. Cole standing right there on the fists of Drew Robinson, or Shane Robinson. Cole trying to get one in there just under his beard. He'd lose track of it.
He won't be able to see the ball.
Swung and missed at that one. And the out recorded as Brian Holiday whips one down to Mitch Moreland. That is out number 1. Let's go over to Jim Knox.
All right, appreciate it, Buzz. This is a scene last half inning. Mitch Moreland at the plate. Foul ball comes right up here in the club level. Grayson, 6-year-old Grayson gets it and throws it back. Meanwhile, Dad, Jim, checking it out. His reaction, well, understandably so. Very first baseball game here for Grayson. Grayson, what were you thinking? You just wanted to throw it as fast as you can, as hard as you can, right? Okay, well, Dad, what were you thinking?
I was looking for it, and I was hoping that I would get to it before her, but I didn't, no idea she was going to just huck it right back over this side.
Well, there is good news. The ball's on the ground, but I got a different ball, a Texas Rangers autograph ball right there for you, Grayson. Maybe that'll help out and enjoy your very first Ranger game, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Jim, good to have you. Enjoy the game. Appreciate it.
Nice going, Doxy. Made her day, made her feel a little bit better.
Yeah, the dad did a nice job. He gave her a high five after she threw it, and a big hug after that.
Yeah, and tried to block the throw as she was making it. That's great.
You know, every now and then you see a little boy or a little girl do the same thing, and that's what they've been taught.
Yep.
They get a ball, they throw it.
One-two pitch. And Pennington, little pop up in the shallow center. Odor with his back to home plate can't hang on to it. Almost a collision with the liner to Shields, and Odor looked like he might have had it in his glove for just a second.
That would have been some kind of catch if he did. That's a tough one for center. Tough one for center field. Let's see if he's calling for it. You're not sure as a center fielder whether you can get to that ball or not, so you're a little bit reluctant to call for it. Then you get close to it, and you say probably to yourself, I think I could catch it.
Yeah.
But you haven't said anything, and now the second baseman's in your way. Second baseman has to keep going if he doesn't hear anything. Just one of those in-between plays that's tough for communication purposes. That's a tester.
Well, goes the one-out single for Pennington. Now back to the top of the order. Yunel Escobar has walked and grounded to third.
Well, Buzz, you mentioned how many double plays. I can't remember the number that the Rangers have turned.
37 now.
37. The Angels have hit into 29. That's more. The Rangers have turned more. The Angels have hit into more than any other team.
And here's a good candidate for one more. Escobar likes to swing the bat. Hits a lot of fairly hard hit balls and line drive, ground ball type hitter.
He's hit into 5 in April. That's a pretty good number. Put that over a whole season. You hit into 30 double plays. You've hit into a lot of double plays.
5 out of 16. That's a pretty good percentage. Pennington with pretty good speed at first. Rangers have that 4-1 lead that Cole Hamels is working with. That pitch just a little bit low. Escobar, I have no idea how he checked his swing on that. But he did. It's 3 balls, no strikes. Well, Escobar, the leadoff hitter, trying to get aboard to join Pennington. Cole Calhoun will be next. Ball 4. Second time today that Escobar has walked. Well, first and second, and all of a sudden Cole Calhoun coming up, representing the tying run. We'll take a look at our Kubota Power Stats, talking about Cole Hamels since the start of last year. A 15-2 record in 23 starts when he's gotten at least 3 runs of support. And the Rangers have given him 4 runs to work with today. Pretty much money in the bank, but now it's up to Cole Hamels to work around a single and a walk.
The Angels have 6 hits in the game. Most of them have not been hit very hard. A couple of them have been fairly hard hit line drives. Several of them have been little soft line drives to the outfield, hit off the bad part of the bat.
Calhoun takes ball 1 down and in. Now Calhoun has 2 of the 6. Drove in the Angel run back in the 3rd inning. That was his 10th RBI of the year. Calhoun finished up last night's ball game with hits in each of his last 2 times up. He's got a pretty good string going. He had a triple and a double. Triple in the 7th inning last night, a double in the 9th inning. He is 4 for his last 4 times at the plate. And Doug Brocail going to go out there and talk to his battery, slow things down a little bit, give Cole Hamels a chance to refocus. Brian Holiday listening intently, providing some encouragement for Cole Hamels. Escobar, the runner at first. Cliff Pennington down at second base. 1 out in the top of the 5th inning. Three balls, no strikes. The double plays, something to smile about, brought to you by Cricket Wireless. A couple of them today. Albert Pujols in the 1st inning. And then Andrelton Simmons in the 4th inning. Nicely done. That'll make a pitcher smile. Big, broad grin for those. Appreciate Cricket Wireless for giving us a chance to smile about those, and looking for one more right here. 3-1 to Calhoun. .70 pitches so far for Cole Hamels. Number 71 on the way. Lost him. That loads the bases up for Mike Trout.
Generally, that's not a recipe for success, to load the bases for Mike Trout. So far in the game, Cole has handled Trout. He struck him out twice. Cole's a guy in his career who walks well under 3 batters per 9 innings.
And he's at his quota now.
Yeah, he's walked 3 in this game and 11 in 25 innings coming into the game.
Down at the feet, and Trout just able to get out of the way of that. First pitch breaking ball from Hamels. And he buried it right at the back shoe of Mike Trout. Now Trout went down swinging in the 1st, called out on strikes in the 3rd. Well, that didn't miss that back foot by much. Doug Brocail and the skipper Jeff Bannister keeping a close eye on things. 1 ball and 1 strike. You know, we talk about Mike Trout being a good low ball hitter, and Cole Hamels working him low, but he's getting the ball off the plate inside to him. And that way Trout not able to get the head of the bat out to it. If you throw Trout in the strike zone but down, he's going to wear you out. Broken bat roller. Beltre gets a tag, and that's all he's going to get. Adrian playing back, so the idea of getting the out at home first was taken away by that softly hit ball off the fists of Mike Trout. In to score, Cliff Pennington. The out recorded as Escobar was tagged out. Trout with the RBI. It's now a 4-2 Ranger lead.
Well, with Mike Trout up with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs, you'll take the result. Give up a run, get an out.
Albert Pujols, a double play grounder and a solid single to center field. 1 ball and no strikes. Calhoun, the runner at second, Trout at first. .183 the average for Albert Pujols. Saw him hit his 566th career home run here last night. Two and 0.
Albert has chased some pitches in this series out of the strike zone. It's like he's saying to himself, I am not going to expand the zone in this at bat. I'm going to make him throw me a strike. Cole, based on what he's seen earlier in this series, doing what he is trying to do to get him to swing at a bad pitch out of the strike zone, but hasn't offered it one.
And time called momentarily. Hamels reading the signs. He is set. And misses high and away. 3 balls and no strikes. Hamels being very careful with Pujols. Got C.J. Cron in the on-deck circle. 2 aboard with 2 outs, a run across. Not an intentional walk, but certainly not bothersome to Cole Hamels. That'll reload the bases and bring up Cron. Tom Wilhelmsen getting loose and doing it in a hurry out there in the Ranger bullpen. Always the concern, Cole missing a start with that sore groin muscle that could be affecting him. You miss a start even though you work in the bullpen a couple of extra times. Still not the same as being out in competition. Cron 1 out of 2. And it just slices off the inside corner. Cron a .211 hitter overall. One and one. Cron last time up reached down for a low changeup out of the strike zone and looped it into left for a single. He's got Calhoun at third, Trout at second, Pujols at first. Two balls and a strike. And our steel pitch tracker showing you that not missing by a lot, but certainly enough. Able to come back with that changeup. Good pitch. 2-2. The crowd now getting behind Cole Hamels and the hometown Rangers. Loop to right field. That's in for a base hit. Here comes Trout around third. The throw is offline. Trout slides in. A couple of runs on the single by Crone, and we are dead even. It's now 4-4.
Well, there's only been 2 hits in the inning. The leadoff hit to start the rally was a little blooper by Pennington. This ball jams Crone, and he serves a soft line drive out into right field. But in between those hits have been 3 walks.
Giovanni Soto takes ball 1.
Each team coming up with bases loaded, 2 out base hits. 2 big hits, one by Delino and that one by Crone.
That catches the inside corner to Soto. Giovanni is lined to right, popped to short. 0 for 2 this afternoon, hitting at .310 currently. Good change up there, and it's 1-2. Hamels trying to shut that barn door, get the Rangers back to the dugout and then to the plate. And Brian Holiday going to go out and talk to Cole Hamels, and Cole looks a little bit frustrated at times. And sure, the rhythm, the timing, not to mention the results, getting to him a little bit. Got him swinging. And back of that changeup. Soto gone, but the Angels answer the Ranger 3 with 3 of their own. They strand a couple. We played half the ball game. It's the Rangers 4 and the Angels 4 on Fox Sports Southwest. Wednesday, May 25th, you join the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation and Park Place dealerships for the Triple Play Game Show Spectacular. The theme of this year's event is Field of Dreams, and as always, the Triple Play features live and silent auctions, game shows, and attendance by the entire Texas Rangers team. Visit TexasRangers.com/Triple Play for individual tickets or to reserve a table. Now, as we go to the 5th inning, Garrett Richards' day has come to an end, and Greg Malley, who we saw here on Friday night, enters the fray for his 10th appearance of the year, a 1.29 ERA. And Malley, who features a variety of angles for opposing hitters. Fires a strike to Nomar Mazara. Now he just turned 23 years of age. Back on the 17th of April. No balls and 2 strikes. Mahle, a Southern California product. Went to, he's from Westminster, California, which is right down the road from Angel Stadium. Played his college ball at University of California, Santa Barbara. Mazara this afternoon has grounded into a double play and struck out. One and two. Line on Garrett Richards. In his 4 innings of work, he allowed 6 hits, 4 runs, only 1 of them earned. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. That 1 walk, however, opened the gates along with his throwing error for that 3-run Ranger outburst in the 4th. Mahle, a burly left-hander, goes 6'2", about 230 pounds. He was the Angels' 15th round selection in the 2014 draft.
That's about as far as he can reach to the other side of Nomar to throw a pitch. He doesn't throw them all from down there. And that last one, I think he reached lower and farther than he has on most of his pitches.
To left field, hit pretty well, but Robinson with room makes the catch. Well, Mazara going the other way with authority, and he makes that right turn at first base. That's out number 1, and Adrian Beltre coming up. And before Beltre steps in, let's send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. Rangers, of course, will be at Rogers Center beginning tomorrow night. Beltre, a fair ball down the third baseline. It carries back toward left field, so Beltre will cruise into second with a 1-out double. So Adrian adds a double to his walk that he had last inning.
Well, it's tough to go into Toronto and play 4 games, but the Rangers will do that, and they won't have to face Marcus Stroman anyway. He pitched today.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Little advance notice for you, by the way, that Tom's going to have this trip off.
I will.
Take some time off. Good for you. Do a little family PR while
we're
we're
going back to Massachusetts, spend the week with my sister and my mother.
Good for you. I'll be joining Dave Raymond to bring you the action in Toronto and Detroit. Mike Scioscia trying to maneuver things around, and he's got Mahle to face Prince Fielder. They're going to make the appeal that Beltre missed first, and that appeal is denied by Ramon de Jesus. And now, since the appeal was made, they're going to challenge it, and that has to be the order of things happening. If you're going to appeal that, excuse me, if the runner missed the bag, you've got to make an appeal there first, have that turned down, and then you can have the appeal enforced. See if Adrian did in fact miss that first base bag.
Touch the corner right there.
Looked like it. Looked like it.
I don't see how it can get overturned. There's no way you can see daylight between his foot and the bag. When your foot hits the ground at that angle, it slides slightly to the right anyway, so even if it came down without touching the bag, as he pushed off, it probably moved into the corner of the bag. If that's the only camera shot, hard to see the possibility of overturning it. Let's check it again.
Magic of television, we can make it enhanced a bit.
That's touching the corner right there.
I think what we need to do for plays like that now is put a sensor in all the bags. You can feel it.
I've never known a hitter that, I mean, if you miss the bag, you know you missed the bag.
Right.
No hitter is not going to go back and touch first base and lose a base hit if he knows he missed the bag.
Here's his chance to look at it from the other. Yeah, put those two together, and that foot has to have slid against the bag somehow.
I would think so.
So the appeal comes down that it is denied. The Angels' challenge is denied, and Adrian did indeed touch the bag. The call is confirmed by Replay Command Center back in New York. Adrian said, what's the deal? All of us fast runners cut it as close as we possibly can.
That's cutting it pretty close, though.
Yeah, it is. So here's Prince with a chance to give the Rangers the lead again. Swinging strike one. Fielder 0 for 2, but he has scored a run. He flied out to left field in the second. Last time I've got on a fielder's choice and came around to score on Delino DeShields. 2 out, 2-run single. 0-2. And again, the Angels now with Mahle on the mound go into an overshift with Fielder. They give the complete shortstop hole all the way from the bag to over to Escobar, which is about 60 feet. 2 gone. On to third goes Beltre as Fielder grounds out, and Ian Desmond will come up.
Left fielder Ian Desmond.
We'll see now how Mike Scioscia wants to play this. Got the left-handed hitting Mitch Moreland to bat next, and Ian Desmond already 2 for 2. He is not going to have an opportunity to do any more damage.
Yeah, Desmond is hot too, over 400 in his last 12 ball games. The other side of it is Mitch is pretty hot too.
Yep.
But you play the percentages. You want a lefty facing a lefty or a righty facing a righty? The lefty.
Well, Gary Richards walked 1 in his time on the mound, and Mahle now with the intentional pass will add 1 more to his total. So Desmond, the intentional walk. Rangers now with runners at the corners as Mike Scioscia playing the percentages to bring up Mitch Moreland with 2 outs and runners at first and third.
Now batting first baseman Mitch Moreland.
Moreland an RBI double back in the second inning. It is shot down to the right field corner to bring home Ian Desmond. Mike Morin loosening in that Angel bullpen now. Angels with Moreland up there going to that overshift against him. Mitch perfectly capable also of playing pepper with that vacant shortstop hole. Desmond going to second on delayed steal. And he couldn't entice Giovanni Soto to throw to second. Beltre was kind of sneaking down the line from third. So what you do now, you put an extra man in the scoring position. A little delayed steal action. You saw the secondary lead, a couple of hops, timing it, and then taking off. Desmond gets a stolen base. 0-2 to Mitch.
You watch this side arming lefty against the left-hand hitters, and you realize how advanced for 21 years old Nomar Mazara is. He took about 5 good swings, fouled 4 of them off, and hit the ball hard to left field.
And Moreland gone on 3 pitches as Greg Mahle gets the strikeout. Rangers get a double and an intentional walk, and Strand 2. After 5, it remains the Rangers 4, the Angels 4 on Fox Sports Southwest. the Chicago White Sox on Wednesday, May 11th. It's a 1:05 game, so why don't you all take a long lunch, come on out to the ballpark, and enjoy all the dollar hot dogs you can eat, courtesy of Texas Chili Company. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets, or you can call 972-RANGERS. And come on out and get all the dogs you can for $1 each. Well, a 4-4 ball game, and this game has now been turned over to the bullpens. Angels went to their bullpen. Garrett Richards after 4. Cole Hamels went 5 and struggled a bit in the 5th inning, so he is gone in favor of Tom Wilhelmsen. Wilhelmsen facing the bottom third of the Angels order and pumps in that fastball to Andrelton Simmons. Tom in his 10th appearance of the year, 1-1. That both the opponent's batting average and that ERA are dropping precipitously. He is getting things back together for himself. 2 rough outings where he worked 2/3 of an inning, gave up 10 earned runs. For a reliever, you can spend the rest of the year trying to get that back down to respectability.
Yeah.
But to Tom's credit, well, he just kind of let that roll off his back like a water off a duck's back. Got to work, and he has pitched much better. 32-year-old right-hander out of the Tucson, Arizona area. 0-2 to Simmons. Little cue shot that Moreland will feed to Wilhelmsen. 1 out.
Yeah, when you've got an ERA of 11.25, it doesn't look too good unless you remember that 4 appearances ago it was 22.5.
Yeah.
So he's cut it in half. Took 4 shutout innings to do that.
Yeah, 1 up, 1 away here now. Shane Robinson will step to the plate. In case you missed the Angels news a little bit earlier, they put Craig Gentry, the former Ranger, on the disabled list. He had some back problems and brought up Shane Robinson. Left field has been kind of a dark hole for the Angels. They have just not been able to fill it with any consistency. Shane Robinson, the latest to get an opportunity out there. And that on the outside corner. So Tom Wilhelmsen painting a bit. 0-2. Robinson a strikeout, or excuse me, and a single and a run scored. 1 out of 2 today. Slowly hit Elvis. Bare hand attempt, can't come up with it. And Robinson's going to be aboard with a base hit. About the only chance Elvis had to get the speedy Shane Robinson was the bare hand, and couldn't find the handle.
A tough one to bare hand because it's still rolling and still bouncing. You have to make the decision to catch it in the glove and try to throw it, or bare hand it and be able to get rid of it a little quicker and throw it. Second hit for Robinson. A little blooper to right and an infield single.
Oh, 1 on, 1 out. Cliff Pennington, who is 1 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt and a single. Up the middle, right by Wilhelmsen into center field. Robinson not stopping at second. He's going to continue to third. Now Elvis back to first and couldn't quite get Pennington, who had rounded the bag, and the Angels now with runners at first and third and just 1 out for the top of the order.
Got good base running, and you mentioned Robinson has good speed. And on a hard hit ball directly in front of him, he never hesitated. He went all the way to third base. Aggressive base running puts a man on third with less than 2 outs, however. Never thought about stopping.
No, sure didn't. So 9 base hits now for the Angels this afternoon. Top of the order for the 4th time. Yunel Escobar at the plate. Escobar has already walked a couple of times. He's 0 for 1 officially. Wilhelmsen, a pretty good move for a tall guy, and most of the time tall right-handers have a hard time having a quick move because they're long arms and legs, hard to get in position to make a throw over there. But Tom, pretty quick with his feet. One ball and no strikes.
Well, Mike Scioscia changed the lineup today. Moved Calhoun from 5th to 2nd. Calhoun has 2 singles, a walk, a run, and an RBI batting 2nd. Put Shane Robinson in left field. He's had 2 hits, scored a run. Gave Pennington a chance to play second base, and he's had 2 hits and scored a run. So the maneuvering with the lineup paid some dividends.
Wilhelmsen paying attention to Cliff Pennington over there at first. Rangers at double play depth. Anderson, Odor up a couple of steps and just about straight away for Escobar. A 4-4 game. Tom Wilhelmsen trying to keep it right there. The center field, that's going to be deep enough to score Robinson. Throw comes into second. Robinson trots down the line and crosses home plate. And the Angels, for the first time this afternoon, take a lead. They are on top 5-4. As you know, Escobar gets his 8th RBI of the year on the sacrifice fly. Steele pitch tracker. Showing that caught a lot of the plate. Escobar made Wilhelmsen pay for it. Here's Calhoun now with 2 outs. Nothing in 1. Calhoun, as Tom told you, perfect afternoon going. He is 2 for 2, a pair of singles, an RBI, a run scored, a stolen base. Calhoun 3 for 6 against Wilhelmsen in previous matchups. Wilhelmsen ready. Again, a check at first. Calhoun, a towering fly ball to right center. Delino ambling over, makes the grab. That will do it. But the Angels take the lead. They get a run on 2 hits and leave 1. After 5.5, it's now the Angels 5, the Rangers 4 on Fox Sports Southwest. Well, it's time now for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $2,100 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during the inning, Tony Wood from Louisville will win $2,100. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Tony is going to take home $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, Rangers now trailing for the first time this afternoon. 5-4, Angels on top. Elvis Andrus, Ryan Holiday, and Delino DeShields, the bottom third of the Ranger order, to face the new Angel pitcher. That is Mike Morin. Morin appearing in his 14th ball game, a .289 ERA, and opponents hitting just .222 against the young right-hander. Elvis takes strike one. Morin worked an inning last night. Elvis was the first hitter he faced last evening, and Elvis grounded to third. And he's going to ground out to short here as Simmons comes up firing, one out. Elvis retreats to the dugout, 1 for 3 today, to bring up Brian Holiday. Morin, basically fastball changeup, but he exhibited a pretty good curveball last night too. Adding to his repertoire a bit, or at least refining it. Morin the last couple of years has been a pretty good workhorse for the Angels. Spent a little time last year on the disabled list, but the Angels, he had 47 appearances last year, 60 the year before. Holiday 0 for 2 this afternoon. Towering fly ball to left, just got it underneath it. Robinson waiting for it to come down. That is out number 2. Sounded good off the bat, but a little too much altitude.
Yeah, had a good swing at it. Pretty good pitch to hit. Didn't quite get it.
Though with the bases empty and 2 away, here's Delino DeShields. Delino last night against Morin fouled out to first base. Delino showing bunt. Hasn't done that much lately. Yeah. Probably consumed the idea of getting his way back to being in offensive shape. Get both cornermen playing up. That's an advantage for the hitter. A little bit inside. 2-0, and Giovanni Soto going to go out and say something to Mike Morin. I don't think Giovanni was particularly thrilled with the call that they didn't get from Dale Scott. So rather than sit there and complain, thought he'd go out and talk to Mike Morin. Then the catcher realizes that the home plate umpire is not going to listen to you, so go talk to somebody that's going to listen to your complaints.
Pitcher's not going to argue with you if you go out and say, I think that pitch was a strike.
There is a strike. Right. Just on the outside part of the middle. 2-1. At 2-2. Delino currently at 228. He had that big 2-out, 2-run single in the 4th. Chops one to third where Escobar is positioned. And that'll do it. So Morin comes in, has a 1-2-3 6th inning. Rangers gone, and we're moving on to the 7th at Globe Life Park. It's the Angels 5 and the Rangers 4. Now for our 4-game summary, and Mitch Moreland got the Rangers going. He had an RBI double in the 2nd inning, bringing home Ian Desmond for Mitch, his 12th RBI of the year. And then Delino DeShields, a huge 2-run, 2-out single that capped off a 3-run outburst for the Rangers and put them up 4-1. The Angels came back though and answered. C.J. Cron topping off the 3-run inning of their own as he had the 2-out, 2-run single. That made it all even. The Angels added one more on a sacrifice fly in the 6th, have that 5-4 lead as we go to the 7th inning, and Sam Dyson has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over. Dyson appearing in his 11th game. The opposition is hitting .257 against him, .270 ERA. And Mike Trout starting things off, takes that slider. He was not really sure that was going to be a slider when he saw it. He was backing out a little bit.
That's a good slider, too.
Yeah. Trout, an RBI on a fielder's choice in the 5th inning.
Both in the same place. One going left to right, the other one going right to left.
And about 7 or 8 miles an hour difference. 0-2. Trout, along with the fielder's choice, struck out twice, both those at bats against Cole Hamels. One ball, 2 strikes. Trout, a .281 hitter, as you can see. Stays alive, tipping that power changeup. Angels 5 runs on 9 hits this afternoon. The Rangers 4 runs on 7 hits. Both starters, Cole Hamels and Garrett Richards, will have nothing to say about the outcome of this ball game. Shot foul down the first base side. Jose Alvarez, left-hander that we also saw last night working. Still 1-2. We'll try it again. The Stars, Hamels went 5. Cole gave up 4 runs on 7 hits. Uncharacteristically out of the strike zone a lot today. He had 4 walks, go along with 4 strikeouts. Garrett Richards, meanwhile, lasted 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, only 1 earned. That one just sinking out of the strike zone. 2-2. Time called. Mike Trout, 8th most in numbers of pitches seen per at bat, over 4.5 pitches on average. Beltre, and again, Hop stayed down on him that time, but he played it flawlessly. 1 out. Beltre with more total chances than any other third baseman in baseball. Well, folks, the next post-game fireworks show is coming up on Friday. That's May 13th. Red out the ballpark. Rangers take on the Toronto Blue Jays, a 7:05 start. And you can stick around for Friday the 13th themed post-game fireworks show. Get your tickets now at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS if you prefer. Big weekend. Blue Jays in town for the first time since last October. Division Championship Series. Rangers will see the Blue Jays for the first time this year, starting tomorrow up in Toronto for a 4-game set at Rogers Center. Pujols fouling off that next pitch from Sam Dyson. 1 ball and 1 strike. Albert today 1 for 2, a single and a double play grounder. He's also walked.
Now the walk loaded the bases right before C.J. Cron served that base hit out to right field. That tied the game.
He's that big sweeping slider that's in for a strike. Yeah, and that inning you're talking about, Tom, that was when Cole really fell on hard times command-wise. Pujols pops one up, way up in the air. Beltre coming down over to take a look. Halladay, but Beltre makes the catch as that ball stays in play. Out number 2. Yeah, that 5th inning today, that's probably as wild as we've seen Cole Hamels in a regular season game.
Yeah, he just looked like he's a little bit out of sync. Couldn't make the pitches he was trying to make. And neither ball was hit that hard. Got the first out. Struck out Robinson, then Pennington hit that little blooper that fell in.
Good fastball at 96 to C.J. Cron. Cron with those 2 RBI, continuing to pester Ranger pitching with runs driven in. 2 today that were extremely important. Gave the Angels a tie at that point. He's 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. The 1-1 pitch. Tough combination. Sam has that thing working both ways. That hard slider and that hard sinker. And then just pop it up a little bit more at 98.
Got Cron shaking his head. Glad to get a piece of that ball.
Yeah. Sam Dyson, the 27-year-old out of Tampa, Florida. Call strike 3. Well, Cron, not much of a chance there. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. Dyson has the Angels gone. 5-4 Angels as we take the stretch at Globe Life Park. Now let's join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please rise and direct your attention now to the area behind home plate and welcome Lauren Hedrick. In honor of the servicemen and women stationed at home and around the world, Lauren will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless
Fox Sports Southwest wants you to show your mean green pride out here at a Rangers game. Get discounted tickets for the game on the 27th of May. That's against the Pittsburgh Pirates. The first 3,000 fans with a North Texas ticket in the park that night get a free Rangers cap in mean green colors. Go to TexasRangers.com/UNT for details. Jose Alvarez on now his 13th appearance of the year. And he will face the top of the Ranger order. So Alvarez for 1 2/3 innings last night. And Odor trying to bunt his way aboard. It's a good bunt, and there will be no play.
Forget it.
That's something we haven't seen Rugnet do very often, but that was well executed.
Yep, leading off an inning against a left-handed pitcher. Might be a little bit more difficult for the left-hand pitcher to get to the first base line. See how he falls off, doesn't really get to the ball quickly. Makes the smart move by, well, never caught the ball anyway. That was pretty much a base hit the minute it hit the ground.
So Odor with his second hit of the afternoon. Leading off the 7th inning, the tying run aboard. Here's Nomar Mazara. Mazara 0 for 3 so far. To left field, Robinson with the sunglasses gleaming in the sun. That is out number 1. So Nomar not able to advance Odor. Adrian Beltre now coming up, and first of all, you got Mike Scioscia going out to the mound, and with the right-hander Adrian Beltre coming up, he wants the bullpen help to come in. So Alvarez gives up a single and a fly out. 1 out, 1 on. He will leave with baggage at first base. It is his responsibility. So a pitching change underway. Angels leading 5-4. Rangers making some noise in the 7th. We're back right after this. Any place.
That's not fair.
Yeah. Well, Fernando Salas has entered the ball game now to face Adrian Beltre. 1 on, 1 out. Salas appearing in his 12th ball game. 2.92 ERA. League hitting just 190 against the right-hander, the 30-year-old. Then with St. Louis and the Angels, and delivers a strike to Beltre. Adrian this afternoon, a double and a walk. 1 out of 2 officially. Rugnet Odor at first base. Rangers trailing by a run here in the 7th inning. Time called as Salas taking too long for Adrian's liking. Beltre just 1 out of 3 against Salas in his career. Odor with good speed, obviously, at first base. He is carrying the tying run over there. Salas came over to the Angels before the 2014 season. He and David Freese, the third baseman the Angels coveted, came over in exchange for Peter Borges and Randall Grichuk. 0-1 pitch coming. There goes Odor. The pitch is high. The throw is in time. They got it. And Rugden not quite so sure. He's looking back toward the Ranger dugout. And Jeff Bannister on the top step holding his hand up said, oh, wait a minute now. We might want to take a look at that. We'll take a look at it first. Pennington slapping that tag down right on the helmet, and sure looks like he's out to me.
Yeah, I don't think that'll get through the review process. Yeah, the tag came on the head, not the back, so we got there a little quicker. Great throw by Giovanni Soto. Yeah, that's the tag. It's not when not when the glove hits the back. It's when it hit the head.
Just by that much. And Jeff Bannister is. You say go ahead and look at that.
Well, late in the game, why not? Maybe you get a call.
So we have a manager's challenge here. Bob Davidson, the second base umpire who made the call, will come in along with Dale Scott, the crew chief. And this is one of the angles, one of the views they will be looking at. And I wouldn't think this would be a terribly long delay. Ricknett sliding in, might not have felt that initial tag as it got him on the back of the helmet. Might not have realized that tag had been applied. No, very quick, and he is out. That call is confirmed very quickly by Replay Command Center back in New York. So 2-5 on their 2-4 on the caught stealing at second. Base is empty with 2 away now, and Adrian Beltre still at the plate. Salas peering in, Soto with the signs. The 1-1. Dale Scott flinched a little bit back there, like he was going to throw that right hand up and thought better of it. Three balls and a strike. Well, if Adrian can get aboard to keep this 7th inning alive, Prince Fielder, the DH, will follow. Rangers a season high 4-game winning streak on the line here today. This is their second 4-game streak of the year. Oddly enough, in between those 2 streaks, a 4-game losing streak. Full count. Salas ready for the payoff pitch. Shallow center field. Pennington going out, can't quite get there. And Adrian has his second hit of the afternoon.
Give Prince a chance to hit with a man on base.
Well, Fielder coming up, and he has had some success against Fernando Salas. Prince with 7 official at-bats against Salas. He's 4 for 7. You get a look at Adrian's little looping drive just out of Pennington's reach, and that sets the stage for Prince to come up as the go-ahead run. Takes strike 1 from Salas. Fielder, both home runs this year have been critical ones. They have either tied or put the Rangers ahead. I beg your pardon, both of them have put the Rangers ahead. Sliced down the left field line. That's going to curl back into the seats. Now Prince down on the count at no balls and 2 strikes. Salas being very intent on not giving Fielder anything that he can pull. So our pitch tracker there, 1 and 2, both on the outside part of the plate. Nonetheless, the Angels in that overshift with Fielder at the plate. Now Soto going to go out. Mention something to Salas.
Can't throw it much higher than that, because if he misses it, the catcher won't be able to catch it either. Go right back to the screen. About as high as he can throw it.
You have to wait for the rebound off the netting. You know it's about at the limit when it's almost off the pitch tracking screen. Soto giving the signs for the another 0-2 pitch. Prince laying off that breaking ball in the dirt. Fielder, who crossed the 1,000 career RBI threshold on Friday night. And his father Cecil now just the second father-son combo to have 1,000 RBI each. Cecil had 1,008 in his career with the Detroit Tigers. Bobby and Barry Bonds, the only other father-son duo to accomplish that. Prince wagging that bat back and forth as Salas reads the signs. Another 1-2 coming.
Oh, what a play. Usher was walking down the aisle, saw the ball in the air, took 2 steps and caught it. He's played some ball before. Watch this play.
Right there.
Right there. Routine play.
Line to center. That's going to fall for a base hit. Beltre will just continue as Trout was playing very deep with Fielder at the plate. Well, now runners at the corners with 2 out, and here comes Ian Desmond. Good job by Prince Fielder of fouling off some tough pitches. Giovanni Soto saying, get that ball down here any place, but it wasn't down where Soto wanted it. If that catcher starts giving you that kind of thing, he wants that ball in the dirt.
Yeah. Don't worry which side of the plate you throw it on, just bounce it.
Exactly. Now Desmond has scored twice today. He's 2 for 2 with an intentional walk. Has driven in a run, a single and a double. He has the tying run at third, the go-ahead run at first here in the 7th inning. 1 ball and no strikes. Desmond familiar with Salas from their days in the National League. He had just 1 for 7 against the right-hander. Salas ready. 1-1. Seeing more and more clubs now with this Ranger team refusing to throw fastballs in crucial situations.
Boy, after watching Ian rip those two 95-mile-an-hour fastballs to center, I can't say that I blame him.
No. Nope. Out of play. 1-2.
The Angel bullpen has been pretty good lately.
Yeah.
Over the last 10 games, they've had a 1.57 ERA and a 1.70 opponent's batting average. They've been throwing the ball well. They're not one of those bullpens that has 2, 3, 4 guys throwing 98 miles an hour, but they've gotten the job done very nicely.
We might note once again that Houston Street, their closer, is on the disabled list, and Joe Smith now has taken over the closing role. That's just outside. 2-2. Mike Scioscia really has some defensive alignment setups. Just a step or so to the left. And Pennington moving a couple more steps. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on and 2 out. Full count.
No more lefties in the bullpen. They've used both of them. If Ian works a walk, we'll have to face Mitch with the bases loaded.
And with 2 outs and a full count, Prince Fielder will get the advantage of a running start from first. He scored on a Desmond double the other night in a similar situation. Salas okays the sign. He's ready. Fielder on the move. Payoff pitch is fouled away, and we'll reset and try it again. Again, Salas ready. Got him swinging. Pitch up. Desmond could not get on top, and the Rangers, despite having 3 hits in the inning, can't score. They have 3 hits and 2 left. After 7, it remains the Angels 5, the Rangers 4 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Mark, Buzz, and Tom, time for the Progressive Fan of the Game. We got to give it to Denise, first grade teacher at Peace Elementary in Dallas. She decided to bring her first grade class here to the game. Denise, congratulations. This is their first game ever, right?
Yes, I brought them out. They have never experienced baseball or the Rangers, so decided to give them that experience.
There you go. Here's the bag. Hope you guys have fun? All right, good to have you out here. Thank you, Denise.
Junior Rangers now.
Oh, Junior Rangers, that's even better. All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Noxie. He's having a great time. Junior Rangers now officially. Good to hear that. Jake Diekman has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over here in the 8th inning. Diekman appearing in his 12th ball game. The 29-year-old left-hander. 6'4" southpaw will face the bottom part of the order for the Angels. Giovanni Soto, Andrelton Simmons, and Shane Robinson. Still a 5-4 Angel lead, and Diekman pumping in strike one. You saw Jake, a very pristine ERA of 0.00. No earned runs and only 2 runs given up, and they were both unearned. Only 3 hits, as a matter of fact. Soto 0 for 3 today. A strikeout, a pop out, and a line out. 2 balls and a strike. Diekman back to the plate, and Soto drives one to deep left field. That ball is gone. Soto with his 3rd home run of the year, and that is the first earned run that Jake Diekman has allowed in 2016. The Angels lead it 6-4.
Giovanni Soto has never looked better than he looks right now. He looks like he's lost 15 pounds. Everything's quicker. His bat is quicker. His catching moves are quicker. He's throwing well. The way he's playing early in the season, he's going to be getting a lot of time catching. He's swinging the bat well right now. Quick bat. I wouldn't even recognize him.
Yeah, the results are there for him. That's pretty impressive right there to turn that around. Andrelton Simmons takes a strike. That evens things up at 1-1. Ranger fans have seen Giovanni do that a few times. Of course, he's with the Rangers beginning in 2012 for a couple of years. Odor on to Moreland, 1 out. Next will be Shane Robinson. Robinson, his first action with the Angels at the big league level, is 2 for 3 this afternoon. Just called up from AAA Salt Lake City. He has had a pair of singles, and he has scored each time he has gotten on base. Diekman back to the plate. Shane Robinson, as I mentioned, a 31-year-old. He has been around the game of baseball for quite a while. Originally with the Cardinals. He was a 5th-round selection in the 2006 draft by St. Louis. He was with them until his release after the 2014 season. Signed as a free agent with the Twins. And after last season, signed a minor league deal with the Cleveland Indians. Went to spring training with the Tribe and ended up signing with the Angels at the end of spring training.
He got the start today, and he scored a couple of runs.
It looks like now Shane Robinson and Rafael Ortega, who we saw the first couple of games, left-handed hitting left fielder, will platoon out there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Another one popped foul back into the seats. Rangers trying to cap off what would be a very good homestand. They won 2 out of 3 against the Yankees to open it up. Won the first 2 games against the Angels, looking for the sweep that would make it a 6-1 homestand. Jeff Anderson's ball club playing extremely well coming out of the month of April with a 14-10 record. And there is ball 4. Robinson takes the walk, so he is aboard for the 3rd time today. And Cliff Pennington now will step to the plate. The Rangers doubled their win total from last April. Last April was a 7-14 disaster. They turned that around this year at 14-10. Leading the West coming into play by a half game today over Seattle. Mariners trailing Kansas City, that ball game in the 6th inning up in the Emerald City. Cliff Pennington a couple of hits. Perfect afternoon, 2 for 2, facing Jake Diekman. Shane Robinson at first base, inching off the bag. No balls, 2 strikes. Play to the right, and the count remains 0-2. Jake Diekman giving up the leadoff home run to Giovanni Soto here in the 8th inning. And a walk to Shane Robinson with 1 out. Gets the strikeout of Cliff Pennington. That pitch up around the shoulders, and Pennington not able to make contact. There are 2 outs.
He throws him his slider. Fooled him. Caught the outside corner, whether he swung at it or not.
Go back to the top of the order. Yunel Escobar up for the 5th plate appearance of the afternoon. He is 0 for 1 officially. He's had 2 walks and a sacrifice fly. It's that good tailing fastball for strike 1. Escobar 2 out of 9 in the series so far. Into center field, that is going to fall for a base hit in front of Delino DeShields. Escobar with his first hit of the afternoon, 1st and 2nd with 2 away for Cole Calhoun. With Escobar's hit, now the Angels with 11 base hits this afternoon, and Rangers have 10. Calhoun has 2 of those 11 hits, singled in each of his first 2 times up today. He's also walked and flied out. Calhoun, despite having a rather lengthy offer that he snapped in this series, 0 for 15, put up one of the better months that he's had in his career with 23 hits. And tied the highest output in a month that he'd ever had. The 1-0 pitch coming from Diekman. Now 2-0.
Jake's running up his pitch count a little bit. This will be his 23rd pitch. Alex Claudio's warming up in the bullpen.
Well, Robinson at second. Holding his lead right there at the bottom of your screen. 2 balls and a strike. Well, after the Rangers took a 4-1 lead with 3 in the bottom of the 4th inning, it has been all Angels since. Angels answered with 3 of their own in the 5th inning. Single runs in the 6th and here in the 8th. And they are still at work with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Inside all the way to the backstop. That will advance the runners 90 feet. Looked like Ryan Holiday might have gotten screened out a little bit by Cole Calhoun on that inside pitch. Nope, just missed it.
Just had to reach too far.
They're going to rule that a wild pitch. So second and third, 3-1, the count to Calhoun. If Calhoun is able to extend this inning, Mike Trout is in the on-deck circle. Back out of play, and that runs the count full. Jake Diekman will have to use at least 26 pitches to retire the Angels. Calhoun back in the batter's box, taps the plate. And Diekman, a belt high set.
I mentioned, I think it was yesterday, Angel batters have struck out the fewest amount of times in the major leagues. And one of the reasons has to be how many balls they foul off. It's been the same all 3 games, just foul ball after foul ball. Make enough contact, it keeps them from striking out. They've struck out 123 times. The Astros have struck out 238 times, almost double. They lead Major League Baseball in strikeouts.
Broken bat looper to right. Mazara coming on, he can't get there. 1 run is home. And fortunately for the Rangers, Escobar forgot how many outs there were, and at second base he was waiting for it to fall in. So he only advances to third, but a run across as Shane Robinson scores. And that makes it a 7-4 Angel lead.
Have a clue.
And that is going to do it for Jake Diekman. Cole Calhoun with the RBI single, his 3rd base hit, his 2nd RBI, and Alex Claudio is summoned from the bullpen. So pitching change underway. Angels making it tough on the Rangers here in the 8th inning. A timeout, and we will be back to Globe Life Park right after this. We're teaming up to bring you savings at the ballpark all season long. Just bring a Dr. Pepper can to the box office or use the online coupon code Dr. Pepper and receive savings of up to 29% on most Sunday through Thursday games. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials to get your tickets for May 9th through the 11th. The Rangers play the Chicago White Sox. Alex Claudio, side-arming left-hander, has come on. The 24-year-old inherits runners at first and third, and he faces Mike Trout with 2 outs. 1 ball and no strikes. Claudio, a native of Puerto Rico, and he has shown glimpses of the Rangers the last couple of seasons that changeup right there can be effective at the major league level, and it has been. It's also looked like the last couple of times we've seen him this year that he has started mixing the fastball more, mixing up speeds. You used to see him throw 2, 3, and 4 changeups in a row, and that's not the case anymore. Throws one there to Trout, who fouls it off the other way. It just appears he's developed a better feel for how to set hitters up, how to get them off stride effectively. Last time we saw Alex on the hill for the Rangers a week ago against the Chicago White Sox. To right field, that sends Mazara back. Still going back, it's over his head and off the wall. One run is home. Stopping at third is Calhoun, and Mike Trout, an opposite field double. That makes it an 8-4 Angel lead.
At least Escobar's feeling a little bit better. Scored anyway.
Trout with his second RBI of the afternoon.
Looked like Trout just made the conscious decision. I'm going to go to right field, which will allow me to wait on his changeup if I have to. Pretty good success doing it.
Well, second and third now. Here's Pujols, who takes a fastball for strike 1. Pujols today has walked and singled, 1 for 3 officially. Angels leading 8-4. They have 8 runs on 13 hits. And that changeup made Pujols flinch, but he took it. It was just a bit low. Claudio ready at checking the runners. Elvis gobbles up that one, and low throw, but Mitch has that handled, and that'll do it. Angels, however, put a couple of more runs on the board. They get 2 runs, 3 runs, I should say, on 4 hits and leave 2. Bottom of the 8th coming up, 8-4 Angels.
we head to the bottom of the 8th, trailing the Angels by a score of 8-4 here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. This is the finale of a 3-game set and 6-game homestand for the Rangers. It is off to Toronto to begin a 6-game road trip. It's going tomorrow at 6 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. Rougned Odor and Josh Donaldson putting up some big numbers last season and this season. It will be the Rangers' first trip to Toronto since that memorable ALDS experience last year. Should be a good series. 6 o'clock, first pitch here on Fox Sports Southwest. A big thank you to the fine folks at AT&T High-Speed Internet for getting us ready for the opener between the Blue Jays and the Rangers, guys.
All right, Dan, thank you. Well, Mitch Moreland leading off the Rangers' 8th inning, and now it is a 4-run disadvantage that the Rangers will try and cut into. Angels with a pair of 3-run innings, the latest in the 8th inning, opened up that chasm the Rangers face. Fernando Salas back to the hill, and Mitch Moreland 1 for 3, a couple of strikeouts and an RBI double. Let's go back a day. Our AT&T high-speed internet replay for you. Mitch Moreland off of Matt Shoemaker deep into the night, a 3-run blast that capped off a 6-run 3rd inning for the Rangers last night. AT&T high-speed internet replay, and Mitch caught looking here at 3rd strike, and he had a few words to say to Dale Scott on the way back to the dugout. Second strikeout, and Dale Scott motioning to Mitch Moreland, kind of a shrug of his shoulders and said, nothing I can do about it, whatever the question was. So 1 away. Here's Elvis. Andrus a single in 3 trips. First ball swinging, towering fly to left. Robinson handles that for out number 2. And now Brian Holiday coming up. Holiday today has flied to left field a couple of times. He's also struck out an 0 for 3 afternoon. Taken all the way. It's in for strike 1. Wide of 3rd, but picked off by Escobar. And Salas works a 1-2-3 8th inning. Rangers down in order. On to the 9th we go at Globe Life Park. It's the Angels 8 and the Rangers 4.
Do as we head to the 9th inning on a sun-splashed day at Globe Life Park in Arlington. John Radigan up here in the Captain Morgan Club getting ready for Rangers Live. Mark McLemore, Pudge Rodriguez will join me here. We'll break down whatever happens and however this game ends. We will also look ahead to the Toronto series, which should be dramatic and emotional, and we'll talk about the Yu Darvish start in Frisco. He said, among other things, that after throwing 97 today, he kidded and said, I think the Frisco gun was just a little slow, guys. After the game.
Yeah, that's good news.
Yeah.
That's good news. Glad to hear that from you. Alex Claudio back to the hill. He's pitching here in the 9th inning, and C.J. Cron leading things off for the Angels. Cron checking his swing, and Ramon De Jesus down there at first base. No, he didn't swing. 1-1 to Cron. Cron this afternoon 2 for 4 with a pair of runs driven in on 2 singles.
Look at that changeup.
The old hesitation pitch.
I think Trout had a good approach. Just wait on everything and try to hit the ball to right field. Might be a little bit late on the fastball, but at least give you a chance to square up that changeup.
One of the few guys you'll see, Alex Claudio, that changes speeds on his changeup.
That depends how the wind's blowing.
2-2 pitch. Full count. Cron leading off here in the 9th inning, can be followed by the catcher, Giovanni Soto. Yeah, that's what Cron looked like he was doing too. Protecting against the fastball and trying to hit the changeup the other way or up the middle. Another 3-2 coming from the left-hander. And a base hit to right.
Cron had the same idea. Well, Cron's only hitting .203. Got off to a terrible start, but 3 hits tonight combined with a .345 average in his last 8 games. So he might be starting to come around a little bit. Got a big hit back in the 5th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. It was a soft single to right field to drive in 2 runs. Tied the ball game.
Somebody might have reminded him, hey, you're playing against the Rangers now. Remember last year. Soto dumps a single into center field, so Giovanni with his 2nd hit of the afternoon. Back-to-back singles here in the 9th. 2 on, nobody out for Andrelton Simmons. Claudio giving up hits to 3 of the 4 that he has faced. Simmons 0 for 4 today. He's grounded out 4 times. Angels now 15 base hits this afternoon, producing their 8 runs. Rangers 4 runs on 10 hits. No ball on a strike. Simmons, a big acquisition in the offseason from the Atlanta Braves by the Angels. The shallow right, Odor, he's going to let it fall. They'll get 1 out at second.
That'd be something if they turned a double play on that one. Turn it off, fire, and get the guy going to 3rd too.
It would have had to have been a tag play, but it looked like it was possible there for a second.
Runner's going back at first base. He thought it was going to be caught. He's out easy. The guy going to 3rd had to wait a little bit. Elvis didn't have time to make a throw.
No, that's
an unusual force out, though.
It is. Goes down as a routine 4-6 force out. It was anything but routine. Shane Robinson now the hitter. 1 ball and no strikes. Robinson a pair of singles and a walk. He has scored all 3 times that he's been on base. Batting down in that number 8 hole and Mike Scioscia might have found the complement to the left-handed platoon that he has in Rafael Ortega. 2-0. Claudio okays the sign. He's ready to work. Inside corner, 2-1. Robinson out of the batter's box, staring down at Ron Renicky, the third base coach. Angels trying to add to their lead, which is currently a 4-run advantage. Check swing on the changeup. He did not swing on the appeal. 3-1. And a full count. Well, we'll see now if Mike Scioscia turns Andrelton Simmons loose at first base. First and third, one away. Robinson, the number 8 hitter, to be followed by the second baseman, Cliff Pennington. Simmons on the move, and the pitch fouled away. Three balls, 2 strikes. Chopper right off the plate. The only play Claudio has is to first, and out by a step is Shane Robinson. In to score on the play, C.J. Cron, and the Angels add to their advantage. It's now 9-4. Robinson making the out, but getting the RBI. Simmons down at second base now with 2 away. Cliff Pennington at the plate. Pennington 2 for 3 as he takes strike 1. Well, the last 3 innings, the Angels, going back to what you were talking about, Tom, fouling off pitch after pitch, they have made it very difficult on all of the Ranger pitchers.
They've been up a long time in the last 3 innings. Well, actually, since the 4th inning. 7th inning went fairly quick, but the 5th inning, 6th inning, 8th inning, and 9th inning, been a lot of pitches thrown in those innings.
Claudio ahead in the count now, 0-2 to Pennington. One and 2. We will reset and try it again. Well, the Rangers, yes, they can come back here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Will have lost a Cole Hamels start for the first time in 15 starts.
Yeah, I really didn't, after the 4th inning when the Rangers scored 3, see a 9-4 game in favor of the Angels after the 4th inning. After the Rangers scored 3, you say to yourself, good. That's a pretty comfortable lead, but give the Angels credit. They just come back and kept scoring.
I want to clarify that. I want you to realize that Cole Hamels is not on the hook for the loss. He will have no decision today, but so his personal win streak of 10 consecutive games will remain alive. But the streak of winning starts by Cole Hamels for the Rangers, unless they come back and rally in this one, will come to an end. Still the second longest, tied for the second longest in Ranger annals. Back, the only one longer was a 15-game streak Fergie Jenkins had in 78 and 79. This one popped up, shallow center. Rougned Odor backpedaling, puts it away. That will do it. The Angels add on a run. They get a run on 2 hits and lead one. Bottom of the 9th inning coming up. It'll be DeShields, Odor, and Mazara with the Rangers trailing 9-4. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By AT&T high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Now, bottom of the 9th inning, Rangers down by 5. It'll be Delino DeShields, Rougned Odor, Nomar Mazara to try and get things going. And they will be facing the veteran right-hander, Joe Smith. Smith on to try and close this one out for the Angels. He becomes the 6th pitcher used by Mike Scioscia here this afternoon. Smith, as we mentioned, taking the place of the injured Houston Street as the closer. This is not a save situation, obviously, but Smith, the 8th inning guy. This is 13th appearance of the year. League hitting .256 against him. And the Rangers will need some base runners if they are to make headway in climbing this mountain. Delino DeShields 1 for 3 with a big 2-run single. That was in the 4th inning. And Joe Smith deals strike 1. Smith, part of that bullpen, a big part of that bullpen that Tom told you about. Not a lot of hard throwers down there, especially at the back end of it, but very effective. He and Smith and Houston Street. Fernando Salas, who we just saw. Jose Alvarez. Not going to break any radar guns by throwing extremely hard, but they all know how to pitch and all have very, very good stuff. And Delino is going to get things started by looping one into center for a base hit. Well, Delino 2 for 4 as he gets aboard. Now back to the top of the order for Rougned Odor. Odor a couple of hits today, had a bunt hit his last time. Both singles. He's also grounded out and flied out. You saw Odor's batting average on the steady climb, and he chops that one foul. It's up to 275 now.
Yeah, rookie in his last coming into the game, 20 games. He's really swinging the bat great, hitting well over 300.
Increased his hitting streak to 5 consecutive ball games. 1 ball and 1 strike. And a ground ball, base hit to right field. DeShields will stop at second. So here come the Rangers. Back-to-back singles open up the 9th inning. And Omar Mazara will try and keep things going. Odor with his 3rd base hit of the afternoon.
Rougned had 3 doubles in last night's game. Well, he's been swinging the bat extremely well. Could have had a 4th double hit, a line shot right at the 3rd baseman. Would have gone down the left field line.
Mazara taking the pitch. It's off of Soto's glove all the way to the backstop. And that will advance the runners 90 feet. DeShields to 3rd, Odor to 2nd. Pass ball charged to Giovanni Soto. Looks like Soto got crossed up. Starting to reach for a sinking and tailing fastball, and instead got the slider. Odor at 2nd, trailing Delino DeShields at 3rd. Rangers trailing by 5, but they got the makings of a pretty good comeback here in the 9th inning. 1 ball and no strikes to Mazara. Line drive, base hit to right field. DeShields scores, Odor being held to 3rd. Mazara with the RBI. It is 9-5 Angels. Mazara driving in his 8th run of the year.
As we mentioned several times, no team in baseball has had more 5 runs or more innings than the Rangers have. Looked like they might have one earlier in the game. Rally came up short. This one needs to be 5 runs for this game to keep on going.
Well, 1st and 3rd, still nobody out. Here's Adrian Beltre, who is 2 for 3. He drives one to right center. Trout going back at the track, at the wall. He leaps up, pulls it off the wall. Tagging at 3rd and scoring is Odor. Beltre came within an eyelash of making this really interesting. As it is, the run scores. It's 9-6 Angels, but there's 1 out.
Well, thought off the bat that ball had a chance, but then watching Trout, it's pretty obvious he was going to get to the ball. He wasn't taking any chances. He really didn't have to jump, but might have been the easiest way to make the play. Had that one under control.
2 runs across, 1 out. Here's Prince Fielder. Rangers need 1 more base runner to get the tying run to the plate. There's a strike from Smith right at the bottom of the zone. Fielder 1 for 4 this afternoon. And Smith getting the outside edge that time, 0-2. Interesting with the sinker ball like Smith, the Angels do not go into the extreme overshift. Simmons, the shortstop, as you can see, shading up the middle, but not on the first base side of 2nd. Figure Smith be able to run that ball down and away from Prince to make it difficult for him to pull it. A ball and 2 strikes. Prince had one to work with there. I think he'd like to have a mulligan on that.
That's kind of right in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, Smith living a bit of a charmed life. 1-2 to Fielder. Omar Mazara, the runner at first base, not being held on by C.J. Cron. Runner on the move, and Cron will take that ball to the bag himself. Well, that is out number 2. Mazara into scoring position. And Ian Desmond will come up.
Well, like you say, Buzz, one more base runner makes it interesting. Mitch will be the next hitter if Ian can get on.
I'd like to see Moreland hit. I'd like to see Andrus hit in this inning.
Me too.
Get it real interesting. And that would require Ian Desmond getting on base against Joe Smith. Desmond, a good afternoon. He is 2 for 3. A single, a double, an RBI, 2 runs scored. Jeff Bannister and his bench coach Steve Buechele watching the action from their perches. 1 ball and no strikes. Mazara had an RBI single. He's now out at second base. And that sinking fastball is a bit low. It's 2-0. Desmond has had some experience against Smith. He's 0 for 3 in previous matchups. Two and 1. You're taking that all the way.
Ian leads the Rangers with 10 walks. He'd love to work a walk right here.
2-1 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Ian kind of committing to that pitch inside early as you have to do, and he couldn't stop that swing.
Good call by Ramon DeJesus at first base. Boy, that ball had a lot of movement on it.
Able to check his swing that time. And DeJesus confirming that. So the count is full. Rangers trying to get that tying run to the home plate. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th.
And that's a good call, too. Well, the one sinker really moved in on him, and the slider, of course, moves away from him.
Payoff pitch got him swinging. And that'll do it. So Smith gives up a couple of runs on 3 hits, but the Rangers come up 3 runs short here this afternoon as the Angels salvage the final game of this 3-game set. 9-6 the final. We'll be back with more from Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.